Hey everybody, it's me, JKAPS, and I am back. I am back doing another podcast. Yep, you guessed it. I'm here on the, shit. Did I just lower my voice down? What the hell am I doing? Damn it, did I just screw the show up right off the bat? I might have. And what's gonna happen then? Sometimes you just gotta breathe, take a deep breathe, and say, fuck it. Cool. Well, I hope you guys are doing good. I'm here. It's the second week of January 2022, and I feel like I haven't fucked it up yet. So that's a good thing. I might become a substitute teacher. Let's just say that I have a job as a substitute teacher, but I have not gone to it yet as of today. But I still have a job as a art teacher that I did go to today. So that's how my life is turning out this week. But I'm also feeling all right. You know, I'm glad I'm still doing this podcast. The whole having the jobs thing is really just to get back to a somewhat financially secure place so I can start working on my original love again, grading animals. But the question is, did I stop doing episodes because I ran out of money, or did something break inside of me? Hold on a second. Or did something break inside of me and I was unable to have the lightness of heart that would enable me to record an episode of Grading Animals for a few months? Yeah, many have guessed it. Many in the audience have guessed it. Maybe I got depressed, you know? And like I say, out in the world, it's the law of the jungle. And the minute you falter, wolves come and attack you. And that's the end of you. So, but I think that I'm having a good 2022. And I think that things are going to be positive. In fact, things are going to be like a song that I love by Billie Holiday, Sunny Side of the Street. Billie Holiday recorded, I think, the Sunny Side of the Street version I'm thinking of, I think in the 50s or something like that. But that song is optimistic as hell, and I love it. And that's how I'm feeling toward 2022. And I hope you guys are doing good too. Well, I'm not going to dick around for too much because we have a lot of suggestions for the show today. And I don't know. Since I rarely get feedback on this podcast at all, I instinctively realize that maybe I'm making the intros too long and self-indulgent. So let's get into today's suggestions. And of course, I have them as PNGs on my computer. Okay, so first suggestion is from Jessica Rain 01. And she writes, animal husbandry. And animal husbandry, absolutely. I mean, if there was a suggestion that I 100% agree with, it's animal husbandry. Because the thing about animals is I already like them. In fact, I've proven it. I've proven it time and time again that there's one thing that you will say about me when I am gone is that he sure liked animals. And then to be able to marry animals together, not to myself, but just to marry different animals together and make them husband and wife, husband and wife, husband, wife, husband and husband, wife and wife. I'm sorry for not putting that one out. But yes, I believe that animals should be able to marry whoever they want. And I think especially because they're animals, we could get way more creative combinations because, my ultimate goal if I ever get to be an animal efficient, like a guy who can marry animals, like that's really like grading animals was a resume to get my officiating animal license. When it comes to animal husbandry, I want to get the whatever paperwork I need to do in order to like get to marry them. I don't know. Would I be a rabbi? Would I marry Jewish animals? What do I have qualifications? Because first of all, animals, I think they believe in different stuff. Like, I wonder, do animals actually have little societies that are invisible to the human eye? Like I always do make a big, like the book Overstory makes a big claim that trees have this entire society. They talk, they speak languages to each other. They do all this shit, right? And, you know, I do believe that to some extent, but I'm also like, I don't know, like, I guess in that book they're saying that like the language is in wood and humans can't read the language of wood except to make houses or something. Anyway, I'm not going to get bogged down in whatever I remember from the Overstory from 2 years ago when I have a great subject like animal husbandry to think about. Now, I think animals also, you know, I think animals get to be a lot more promiscuous than humans because humans like have to make sense of their own world in what is to us a very complicated arrangement of presentations. That's like what a life nowadays is also like how one presents themselves to the world, I think. And I don't know, do animals think about that sort of thing? Probably not. Or maybe they do. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, have I ever really seen an animal? Do I even know what animals are? Do I even know what husbandry is? Can I even read? That's the question. That's the big question. So to Jessica Rain, I feel like, yes, 100% animal husbandry. And I feel like animal husbandry also takes place on farms. All right, we are off to a really great start for this episode. Animal husbandry. Yes, I also know that animal husbandry has to do with like making animals fuck each other. I think, right? That's what it's supposed to be about. So yeah, I would a 100% in getting my officiant license be able to just have animals fuck each other, and I'll watch, draw it, take videos of it, jerk off to it. That sounds great. In fact, I'm in for either of those realities. Do people still believe in that theory? Remember that popular theory that was like, it was like, man, there's a million different universes happening right now at the same time. Does anybody still believe in that anymore? Or have we settled on believing in like this theory that this is a simulation? Like, which do you believe more? That it's a simulation of a universe where there's another universe going on that's also a simulation, and all the universes are simulations? Because I feel like every few years, some idea that's ultimately stupid but is related to the human condition comes out. I guess political ideas are popular examples of those, but I think let's go to a new suggestion and let's see what King Mexico has to say. King Mexico says, the dolphin needs a word of podcast day. And what he's referring to is the dolphin that I had on a story. I don't know if you guys saw my foray into puppetry. Did you guys see when I had a dolphin on my stories? I forget how he talks, but the dolphin, maybe I'll bring that dolphin back. Did you guys see it? If you guys saw the dolphin on the stories, then make yourselves known. Otherwise the dolphin will never come back. That's how I'm going to handle that idea. Because, I don't know, I feel like I just want to know if people are actually listening to the show. If not, that's cool too. Then I'm going to like really take a load off, and it'll be like, hey, chill out, dude. Nobody pays attention to this shit anymore, which is, I don't know, freeing in some way. But anyway, let's see what Trash Irony Manul, longtime listener, longtime friend of the show, Trash Irony Manul, and I believe a Long Island guy, says maybe paint animals or something. I don't know. He really just sort of like lobbed it in there. He's like, listen, I don't know, man. You want me to suggest something? Like, I'm just doing this because you're asking. Cool. Yeah, paint animals. Well, I could paint animals. It's been cold. I have not been out to do watercolor since it's gone below freezing in New York. Because on one hand, I've had a lot to do lately. My days are getting more filled with things hopefully taking off. But so the cold has really been, it snowed here. It snowed here in New York. And I was beginning to feel like winters were not going to ever happen again. Because the last, I remember when I was a kid and it would be snowy by November. But it does not get snowy in November anymore in New York. Like, for years. I mean, I'd say for fucking 20 years at least. I don't know. I can't remember. But I feel like, I remember around September 11th when I was like, these Septembers, after, that year, the year before, they were always hotter and hotter as fuck. What I'm saying is I believe in global warming. And global warming is, it's hot. I think that is definitely hot. Anyway, but getting back to Trash Irony Manul, yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, maybe I will paint them. Who knows? So I don't know. Maybe I will do that. I don't know. The next suggestion comes from the Jason Tate. Shout out to Jason Tate, Patreon supporter. He says, do I have any tattoos? If not, what would I get? I actually don't have any tattoos. And I've always been kind of adamant about it just because I don't want anybody getting near me with any machines. I think the main thing I don't like about tattoos is the idea that somebody's just going to grab my arm and very viciously draw on me. No, get the fuck away from me. I don't want... That sounds like it hurts the entire time. Why would I allow that to happen? Yeah. So ultimately I'm a big pussy. That's the main understanding behind that last statement. So also, and I don't want anything written on me because I want to keep my body exactly as it came in the originally. I'm one of the, if I ever bought a comic book, I also don't take it out of the wrapper. I like keeping things nice. Like sometimes if I do play with my toys, I don't want them to get scuffed. You know what I mean? I consider getting a tattoo as getting very scuffed. Then you're permanently scuffed. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like the idea of that. If I would get a tattoo, what would I get if I got a tattoo? First of all, I would have to have had something change my mind about it. But then, what would I get? Well, I guess I would allow myself to get tattooed wherever I could not see myself. Maybe now I'm understanding the concept that women had when they started to do tramp stamps, because they're like, I'm never going to really see it with my own eyes. It'll be out of sight, out of mind, unless I look in the mirror that way. Actually, probably, I don't know. Maybe that's how it went down. I was just thinking the only way that's going to work if if women who got tramp stamps had the exact same brain as me. And I'm like, no, they probably don't. I think we probably are maybe on two different wavelengths, possibly. But that's just because I never got a tramp stamp and I don't know what the mindset would be to get one. But now I'm like, wait, if I got a tramp stamp, then I would hardly be able to actually look at it because of the way my back bends. And that might make the tattoo pill easier to swallow. So now I'm thinking tramp stamp. The answer, Jason Tate, is if I had to get a tattoo, I would get a tramp stamp. Okay. The Truman Show go at new suggestion from the Truman Show _______. And he said, how many aggressive 5-year-olds could you take on in a battle and win? I mean, yeah, this is a great question. And it's a question I feel that has really been addressed in the world. And I mean, I feel like I've addressed it in my life, but I know, of course, like at my age, even though like I'm getting older now and like I'm not as super strong as I used to be, I'm still in pretty good shape. And yeah, I mean, if you can use weapons and cars, buses, if you can get in control of a bus and like drive into like a school or something, or like over, just anywhere, then you could really take them out. But the thing about it is I actually now, since my nephew is 5, know a few 5-year-olds, and I'm like really close with my nephew. Like means so much to me, like my best friend, truly in this world. And that's like a very important thing to me. I mean, my friendship with my nephew, my sister's son, is like so like overwhelmingly powerful. But also since I've made such a connection with my nephew and he's 5, I know 5-year-old weaknesses. So like, as to your question, the Truman Show, I mean, I'm so much more of a formidable opponent against 5-year-olds now with my allyship with my nephew. So yeah, in this question of how many, I mean, if I really set my mind to it, in the millions, because, it's like you got to be a mastermind about this shit. Anyway, so the next suggestion comes from Iced Coffee and Cigarettes, great friend of the show. And also, whenever I do a live, if he's on the live, he can sometimes parse out what I'm talking about. And also, he's been known to throw in the occasional zinger. It is very hard to find somebody who can really throw a zinger. It's a very difficult pitch to master. But Iced Coffee and Cigarettes always is there with a zinger. So he asks, he suggests living somewhere with seasons versus not. Example, LA versus New York. Well, as you guys know, New York is my hometown. I'm from New York. So I definitely like the idea of seasons. And even as I was mentioning before, it has been getting hotter, and so basically the fall in New York is not what it used to be. Like, I feel like it just stays hotter for so much longer, and it sometimes September can have a chill where you really do notice a distinct lack of sun, and that changes the quality of the air. But it's been so like difficult. I mean, not difficult. It's been so crazy to see how that has changed in my lifetime, whereas like summer lasts longer. So I don't know. LA, I've been to a couple times. I've never like lived in LA or like have been there for any stretch of time where I can imagine not experiencing seasons for like a whole year. But that's also because, I mean, it would be interesting. I don't know. Will I one day move from the East Coast? Who is to say? I think that one of my big, I don't know, not shortcomings, but something that I have trouble with is the ability to imagine far into the future. Sometimes people have dreams that propel them into different places or different imaginations of a life. And they imagine a house or like a different place or like a fantasy world that doesn't exist yet. I have trouble with that, in that I can imagine things in the future that I wish for. Like for instance, this year, one of the things that I hope to make a reality is this season of Mares and Caps that we've been writing for 4 years, and we're done with it and we're ready to produce it. That is something that I know I wanted to bring into being, and that seems like it's happening for this year. Like That's where my life is sort of leaning into. But I have never imagined my lifestyle different. I never thought, oh, I will be around palm trees in an island biome. That's something that's never been something that hangs in my imagination. So as the years have passed, I never, some people move around, but I didn't move from the East Coast. I sort of love it here. Yeah. Some people have when they travel, they're like finding something, or they're going for like some type of pursuit, and that brings them around. But I don't know. I guess I've always lived near New York City, so it's always been that's the thing that has that I've orbited. Anyway, I don't know if that one was interesting or not, but let's move on to the next suggestion, and that is from Richie Rich 4288, who's been very supportive on the show. Let's shout out Richie Rich 4288, and he goes, "Why do you think you'd get canceled?" And that's an interesting question. I feel like I just would assume canceling is the same thing as like any like predator-prey relationship in any ecosystem. I mean, it's like, the dinosaurs got canceled by the asteroid when you think about it. The dinosaurs have been going on doing all sorts of stuff. Who knows how? I would imagine the dinosaurs were very offensive to a lot of groups, especially to mammals. I think mammals ultimately were probably the butt of a lot of dinosaur jokes, I would assume. I mean, and did dinosaurs not appreciate mammals? Probably not. I mean, I also imagine that dinosaurs would be very, I don't know. I would actually like to see the body of work that dinosaurs had created during the dinosaur eras. Like, I think a lot of their buildings and stuff got knocked down by the asteroid, and how the mammals teamed up with the asteroid to take out the dinosaurs. I wish I knew. I wish I could be a fly encased in amber on the wall of that conversation. Because mammals, when dinosaurs lived, mammals were like mice, capybaras. Really, they were just capybaras for hundreds of millions of years until dinosaurs got canceled. So. Yeah, I mean, then I think like, why do I think I would get canceled? Why do I, Jonathan Kaplan, think that I'd get canceled? I mean, because here's the thing: I don't make it a big thing, but I was for a time Jewish, but I got kicked out of Hebrew school when I was like 11, and. The people that I was associated with at that time, the Jewish people, they actually got canceled by the Germans in 1945 or 1939, 39, 40. They were totally canceling Jews in Germany during the 30s, especially because, and again, Jews are comedians often. Comedy has always been a highly Jewish cultural thing. And the Nazis, I heard, were very strict with they didn't like a lot of modern art. They didn't like a lot of things. So obviously they would get canceled. And I think culturally, a little of that fear of getting canceled comes into my own understanding of the world. Like, I would just assume that sometimes, actually in October of this year, I almost got canceled by a car who T-boned me. So, I think that everybody's got to watch out, because you can never tell where a cancellation might be around the corner. So it's just something that we all live with, and we all have to pay attention to in our own existences. The next suggestion is also from Richie Rich, and he goes, "Who would win, Mothman or Sasquatch?" That's a great question. That's also, and really, thank you, Richie Rich, for keeping this show alive, because these suggestions are truly the lifeblood of the show. because I decided to make that the gimmick of the show. So, yeah, I definitely want to hear your suggestions and make fun of them, or just whatever your suggestion makes me think of, I'm going to say. And that's, in a way, just like grading animals, except I'm not going to like spend a lot of time writing it down. I'm just going to really reflect back from whatever stupid worldview that I have. All right, cool. So Mothman and Sasquatch Mothman is a hairy bug. He's a hairy bug man. But every time I've seen like Frank Frazetta draw a picture of Mothman, he doesn't draw Mothman covered in fur. But I would imagine Mothman is completely like, he looks like a yak. He looks like a human yak. So, and does Mothman fly, or is he a disgusting giant bug? That's terrifying. Is he a man, really? How much? What's the percentage split on Mothman? If he is 80% man, 20% moth, then I'm in. I think he's a cool character. But if he's 80% moth and 20% man, then I am out. I do not support Mothman. In fact, I would think that much bug that's big, kill it immediately. I would want to somehow communicate with Sasquatch. I know he wrote a book not too long ago, and I don't know if he has an email address. Sasquatch 100% lives in Canada, by the way. Sasquatch, because I think I've said it on the show before, Canada is like so gigantic. It's the amount of space up there, it's like a whole entire Australia. And they only have as many people as the state of California, and they're split up between Toronto and Vancouver. And then they're just lightly sprinkled all over the rest of the area. There's a bunch of forests over there that they're cutting down like as much as they're like lawn mowing the forest, and they still can't get through it. And I'm 100% sure Sasquatch lives in there. And I hope that Sasquatch is literally punching Mothman to death and just eating him. I'm sure Mothman is a good sustenance. A moth like that, I would imagine you could cook it, especially with the man, because the Mothman means that he has some human meat on the bones. A perfect delicacy for Sasquatch. That sounds delicious. So, yes, I hope Sasquatch easily defeats Mothman and then devours him. All right, cool. And the next suggestion also is from Richie Rich 4288, who I think may be the other listener of the show. This is great. So he says, you should get hot babes on the show. I think that's a great idea. I think, let's let some hot babes on the show. We'll put that as something. We'll put a little ding in there to remind us. We'll ping it. Okay, so that's a cool idea. We should see if any hot babes are listening and want to be on the show. I guess let me know, or let Richie Rich know. He'll forward them to me. No, I don't know. Actually, I am going to have guests on the show. I'm going to have all types of guests. In fact, I would say that several of them are hot babes. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll start having guests we got to have it in 2022. What week? We'll start it. We'll start it up. I'm just getting this podcast started. So, I want to see that I can be somewhat interesting for an hour, as long as I have a lot of suggestions to hinge off of. All right. Next suggestion is from Richie Rich 4288, big fan of the show, who says, start a cult. Richie Rich, you have such faith in me, but I was barely even able to start a successful Instagram page. All right, we finally got through the Richie Rich suggestions and are on to another person who has a lot of suggestions for the show and has a great suggestion for the show right off the top. And by the way, the suggesting person I am talking about is, of course, Richie Rich 4288. No, I'm actually kidding. We're done with his suggestions. We are on to the other listener of the show, Adam Cloud, who asks us a great question. He says, tell us about those sweet Moonsky Records days. This is probably one of my favorite questions. Moonsky Records. Moonsky Records. What was that whole thing about? Well, let's go back. Let's go back in time to the year. Let's go back in time to the year 1997. I used to work at Moonsky Records in 1997 to 1999 in New York City. It was the best fucking thing, and I'm so lucky that I got to work there. I got to work around all these touring bands. I got to meet Laurel Aiken. It was incredible. There were shows at the Wetlands. Damn it, it was like such a wonderful time in New York City. But yes, I got to work there, and here's how it all happened. So back in 1996, 97, there was a ska boom. Like, you know, everybody knows about this. It was like essentially they call it the third wave of ska. And a big reason for that were like bands like the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. But in New York, there was a band called the Toasters. This guy, Bucket Hingley, who was basically, as it turned out, just a rich kid from England with a ska band. And he really like wanted to be in his band and do his band, and he had the money to do it. And he came to New York, and he had this band, and they were successful in New York. And they were an anchor point of the early New York ska scene. And he started a record label to put out ska music in the early 80s. And one of the people who started working with him was this guy, Stephen Schaefer. And Stephen Schaefer was so he and Bucket and all the original people who were part of the band, they started like a skeleton label, and it went, and you know, I guess this was happening all around America. Like, there's a documentary. In fact, what is it? I think Vice has a side channel called Noisy, and they made a documentary about it called, I think even, what's his name? The guy from Operation Ivy, the guy from Rancid, he narrates it. Anyways, to talk about this exact thing. So yeah, so I got to work at Moonsky Records because in 1997 and 96, there was a real like boom on Long Island of people writing zines. And this was probably like echoing a larger thing as well, just like ska, but like this alternative culture, you know, and zines were becoming just things that people did. So when that came to like my childhood or whatever, I decided to make a zine. And the Long Island Voice at the time was a subsidiary of the Village Voice that like covered Long Island. And they wrote about my zine in the paper along with a bunch of different zines from Long Island, because a lot of kids were doing this at the time. And I got to meet all these type of like weirdo kids around my town and around Long Island at large. And one of the people, it turned out that in my town of Valley Stream, there were like 3 other people who were doing that. Now, the thing about my town, Valley Stream, is there are like some creative people that have come out of Valley Stream in particular, and it has its own sort of unique vibe. Steve Buscemi went to Central High School, where I would end up teaching, and was the like it was North, South, and Central District. It was like one district with those 3 schools. And Steve Buscemi was making like indie films when like we were all teenagers. And he even made his movie Trees Lounge and shot it in Valley Stream when everyone was in like 9th and 10th grade. So like kids we knew were extras in the movie. So I don't know. I guess like there was always like a little like bit of an alternative spirit that was in Valley Stream. There was this band called Sleeposaurus that was like kind of known, and I know they were based in Valley Stream. We had a cool record store. So anyway, the Long Island Voice wrote this article, and one of the other kids in Valley Stream was this kid named Adam Liebling, and he had a ska zine called Two Left Feet, and his ska zine was super popular, and he was an incredible networker. Like he was able to talk his way into like, or not even talk his way, he would connect with people all over the universe. He was incredible at that. And so when I met him, we went into each other's orbit, and I started writing for his zine, like just writing little guest funny pieces. And then we ended up making a few episodes of a zine together. And when we became friends, he was actually working at Moonska already, and he was just like, come in and be an intern. He pulled the strings for me to go into the New York store and become like part of the team. And from I think 97 to 99, we were in Second Avenue. Oh no, Avenue A and Avenue A and First or something like that. We were all the way in the Lower East Side in this little tiny closet of a space. So there was only like one counter, and it was just like a little, like almost like you would probably just have a like a little coffee kiosk in that space, but it was the whole operation. And when I would go there sometimes after school, after high school, and then on the weekends, and it was all just folding up newsletters in the back. Just folding up newsletters. There were so many people from all over America who had signed up for the Moonska newsletter, and which was a catalog of all like ska albums, ska CDs, and rare, hard to find discs from everywhere. And yeah, that's what I did for like a long time until ska got so big in America that they were able to move over to like 10th Street in between 3rd and 4th Avenues. And that was like that must have been fucking, I guess 98 or 99. I don't remember. 99 maybe. And that was the store that like a lot of people came to. But I think that, so that's when basically, maybe I have my years wrong. I think maybe maybe we moved there in 98. I can't remember. But whichever it was, by 99, emo was starting to come, and ska totally died. And so the store started closing down. And so I got let go, I think, by 2000, like maybe mid 2000 or even earlier. But Moon Records was such a important time for me because, I don't know, being around real bands, like there were, at the time I thought that like maybe a life in music would be the thing that I would want to do. And then I was working at a place where it was a popular music form that had a great energy and a great history, and live shows were like available for me to go to whenever I wanted to. Like I could get in free for all the promotional shows that they would have at the Wetlands, which was this awesome wooden club down on Varick Street. And it was a very wooden and resonant place. Like when bands would play, that it really would like warm up the whole environment. It was really great. It had like a low ceiling. It was a really cool space for a show. It had this like weird like renegade environmental. Actually, the weird thing is the people who were in the Earth Liberation Front, the radical the people, they blew up places for environmental justice, but they ended up blowing up the wrong places and like just, you know how it goes. But anyway, they met up at the Wetlands, so that's cool. I don't know. So yeah, when I think about that, I also think about being young. I happened to get have that thing happen to me when I was like 17, 18, 19, 20. And I don't know, I feel like lucky to have been around this thing that was like a sort of a phenomenon, a subculture. And I got to be pretty close to it. I also learned about how like a tour works. You know, I would eventually go on tour with my band years later, and like I learned how to like send out press kits to newspapers and like call them every few weeks and like maintain like a contact inventory and all the things that you got to do to promote something. It was really like instructive, and I met great people. I had like the crew at Moonsky Records was so awesome. Like Adam, my friend Ray Manood, Steven Schaefer, like I said. Like I feel like there were so many other people. There were so many other creative people that would come through, but like those three guys were like my pals. And like I mean to this day I'm friends with them. I'm not super close. We've all lost touch, but we've got together like once every few years, and it really is great to see everybody, and we all have a lot of laughs, and that's like the best. So thank you, Moonsky, for all the good memories. I'm so lucky to have worked at Moonsky Records or even know what that whole thing was about while it was happening. So cool. Thanks, Adam Cloud. But let's not stop there. Adam Cloud has a trillion more suggestions, so let's hear them. So the next suggestion said he once saw a website that said dolphins like an interspecial relations as an animal grader. Would I ever have sex with the dolphin's toy on cam? Would I ever have sex with the dolphin toy on cam? I don't know. I don't think so. But, you know, maybe, because one thing that I'm interested in, I talked about this in the beginning, is animal husbandry. And I think I have to be open. If I'm going to marry animals together with other animals, then I should be a little bit less judgmental if I want to have sex with a dolphin stuffed animal. Now, whether I would do it for the enjoyment of others, first of all, if I really have a connection with a dolphin puppet, then I'll, like, if I have a true connection, then yes, like that is between myself and the puppet. But well, I don't even know what I was saying, but I'm saying that, like, would I put it on? I don't know. People have asked me about doing an OnlyFans, and I don't know that I'm going there. I'm actually, like I said, I'm going to try to be a substitute teacher first. If that fails and I have literally no other options, I will do an OnlyFans. And when I have one, if I already am going to, you know, like they say on Breaking Bad, no half measures, I guess I will do one like pay tier that will be me having sex with the puppet dolphin that I have. That's actually just my hand jerking myself off, because obviously that's what people would be coming to the OnlyFans page for. So, all right, cool. So that was a great suggestion, Adam Tan. So we'll give that one. A ding. I think we'll give that one a ding. Okay. So next suggestion is if a spooky action only happens at a distance, why is it so spooky? Says Adam Tan Cloud. Adam Tan Cloud. What? Again, Adam Tan, who you may be listening to this. What does your screen name mean? And also, what does this suggestion mean? If spooky action only happens at a distance, why is it so spooky? Spooky action. If spooky action only happens at a distance, why is it so spooky? Many of you guys are listening and thinking, what the fuck am I talking about? But those who heard the message have already stopped what they were doing and mobilized, because that sentence is my call to arms for my cult. Many people don't realize that earlier in this episode, I did start a cult, and now I have everybody brainwashed. If spooky action only happens at a distance, why is it so spooky? That sentence activates the cult members and makes them stop what they're doing, and then they put on their dolphin puppet and jerk themselves off. Maybe they might be at work. They might be working in a kiosk, a coffee kiosk that was once the site of Moonsky Records. They have to do it there. They might be I don't know, somewhere else. So somewhere else, like fighting Mothman and Sasquatch. You know, watching Sasquatch eat Mothman with binoculars on, and then you have to drop the binoculars and start jerking yourself off. So that's kind of what the cult is doing right now. And thank you, Adam Tan, for that wonderful suggestion. Okay, Adam Tan, again, with the fucking home runs with these suggestions, was some say self-discipline is more important than getting BJs. Your thoughts? Adam Cloud, some say self-discipline is more important than getting BJs. This is a very privileged Adam Tan, a guy who prides himself on talking about privilege. I'd think. I don't know if that's true. I'm just going to say that for the bit. But some would say self-discipline is more important than getting BJs. Your thoughts? I'm like, who goes through life thinking that they are owed a BJ from the world? Getting BJs is not a thing that I talk about so cavalierly. BJs is a thing that happens like once a year. BJs is a thing that like if you're playing your cards right and you got a BJ, like that's like a winning the lottery. I thought I've gone through life. Listen, I've scarce come across BJs in my lifetime, and I've always cherished the opportunity. So to talk about self-discipline, to talk about BJ as if it's some type of currency, is I find to be very privileged. That's privileged talk to me. Self-discipline is more important than getting BJs. Yeah, I guess self-discipline is also more important than being a billionaire. But I don't know. So I guess those are my thoughts on Adam Tan's suggestion. This is a pretty good. I mean, I'm very happy though that he suggested something at all, because the problem with this podcast is that I just don't have enough suggestions, and then I start to worry. I start to worry whether the whole endeavor was a good one. But but little do they know, I have something up my sleeve. I even when the suggestions run out, I still have a few ideas, which is taking the mic out of the holster and just looking at random shit in my apartment. Because if I can't make content from that, then I'm really in a sorry state. So let's see what's going on. Oh yeah, I gotta say that I will talk about one of these things that I've been really kind of getting into. It's my hobby of painting. Do you guys know about that? Give me what do you call? Give me a couple of pumps on your genitals if you knew about my watercolor endeavors. Anyways, yeah, I got myself a small gift. I showed it on the Instagram lives, but I got myself a small gift for my my watercolor hobby, and I'll tell you about them. And any of you guys who are out there and consider yourselves aspiring artists can hear my my little this little not review, but little check out these art supplies, and you can think, oh, maybe I will buy myself a similar gift. And then, I don't know, that seems fun. So anyway, I got these two gifts on the recommendation of looking at James Gurney blog. Do you guys know about James Gurney, the guy who made up Dinotopia, the most fun book of all time? A book I did not have as a kid, by the way. I wish I had Dinotopia. Did you guys grow up with Dinotopia? If you guys grew up with Dinotopia, that's pretty tight. I didn't have Dinotopia. I did have the Gnomes book. Oh, no, I actually didn't even have the Gnomes book. I only saw the Gnomes book in the library. And yeah, the library, me and my sister would go to the library and look at the Gnome book. And for those who were on the live the time when I did it, but when I talked about the Gnome book, like on page like 12 is a picture of like a bare-chested female gnome, and she's great. I mean, it's one of the hottest pictures of all time. One of the true classics of all time. Of the topless gnome. So, me and my sister as kids both agreed. But anyway, so I got my no, but I never had Dinotopia. But the guy who painted Dinotopia is a real one of those people on the internet who's super helpful and gives a lot of smart information out. He basically teaches his drawing ability online, among like being a fucking famous artist. But he suggested that when you do watercolor or gouache too, you can underpaint the paper with this stuff called casein. And it's also water-based. It's milk-based, so it doesn't rub off in the water or something like that. So basically, you can have paper and you can underpaint the paper. So I got myself a small set of casein for underpainting, and it has some good colors in it. It's got raw umber, a classic underpainting color, burnt sienna, not to be outdone, but raw umber not to be outdone by burnt sienna, one of the greatest brown colors of all time. I would say that burnt sienna totally steals brown. Brown, it's like, I think when people pick brown as a color, they feel embarrassed. They're like, oh yeah, I'll have brown. You know, they feel like they're afraid that somebody is going to just give them like a poop emoji. But when you say like burnt umber, it's so regal. It's awesome. Burnt umber, it's great. And raw umber and burnt sienna, raw umber. I don't have burnt umber, but that's another good one. Let's give a shout out. Even though I only have raw umber and burnt sienna, let's give a shout out to burnt umber as well, because burnt umber doing big things. Doing big things. Yes. So moving on, I also have, so in this set, it's a set of 6. So I told you about raw umber and burnt sienna, and, you know, pour one out for burnt umber. But then I have permanent blue. Oh, no, not permanent blue. It's Permasole Blue. Permasole Blue, a blue I have never heard of in my lifetime. I've never heard of anything with the adjective permasole. What the fuck does permasole mean? A permasole. I almost imagine it's a perm that's a parasol. Like somebody got their hair permed and then arranged around their face to resemble an umbrella. So it's like a hair umbrella. Hair that's permed and molded into a gigantic umbrella is a permasole. And a blue, and this paint is named after a Permasole Blue. So that's cool. I haven't used that color. I've only used one color to do this underpainting technique. And it's the next color that I'm going to tell from this 6-color set. I have yellow ochre. Guys, shout out to ochre. Shout out to yellow ochre. I don't know the other ochres family. I only know yellow ochre. But I do like that it's not just yellow, it's yellow ochre. They could have called it, well, they couldn't have called it mustard. It's not quite mustard. It's yellow, but it's not like yellow like a McDonald's yellow. That's yellow is like that. McDonald's yellow is yellow. But yellow ochre is a different thing. And I do respect yellow ochre. I think it's a situation like burnt sienna where it's like it really makes the color sound a lot better than it's like red, blue. You're gonna be a color with just one boring name like that. Purple, like these real primary name color. But then you get to colors like Permasole Blue. That's what I'm talking about. That's like no one's gonna fuck with Permasole Blue. Nah, you might get fucked with. I mean, unless like it's like Killer Blue comes along and beats the shit out of Permasole Blue. Sounds a little sus if you ask me. So, yeah, yellow ochre is cool. Yellow ochre in the building. And the last two colors we got is cadmium red pale, which is like everybody has heard of cadmium red, but what I'm noticing about Casein is everybody's got to be a little bit special. Cadmium red pale. It's not cadmium red. It's cadmium red, but not as dark. It's pale. Is cadmium red racist? Calling itself pale? Is a cadmium red pale a white supremacist? I don't know. I mean, if you're a white supremacist of paints, it's probably a lot less bad than being a white supremacist of people. That would be bad. That's like unacceptable. But if you're a paint, if you're like yourself a paint, like you can be color supremacist if you're a paint because you're not a human. But that's, yeah, so cadmium red, we're not going to put you in a separate underpainting set of 6 case because you're called cadmium red pale. You're allowed to be, because what that means is a distinction of the color and of nothing else. That's pretty cool, to be just a simple paint and not in this evil world that we live in. And the last paint in the Richardson Casein underpainting set of 6 is Payne's Gray. And that's a gray color, but it's a little bit blue. I never heard of Payne's Gray before watercolor, but in watercolor, Payne's Gray is a big, huge thing. Payne's watercolor is the biggest thing in watercolor. If you guys didn't know, I can tell if you know shit about watercolor by the amount you know about Payne's Gray. If you don't know shit about Payne's Gray, then guess what? You know shit about watercolor, all right? So just to let you know. And Richardson Casein, so I got Casein. So that's my underpainting set of 6 Casein. Yeah, that's right, motherfuckers. And not to be outdone, I'm not done going through. If you thought I was done doing what I do best, which is finding a list of things and then making up nonsense about them all day long, the only thing that I'm even talented at, if you could call it a talent and not a mental illness. The next thing I got for myself as a little present was none other than the legendary watercolor pencils known as Caran d'Ache. You guys, also, if you've never heard of Caran d'Ache, then you just don't know shit about high-end art supplies. Or you never tried to treat yourself. If you probably saw Caran d'Ache and you're like, yikes, that shit is expensive. And it is. I got this 18 pencil set for $30. That's a lot per pencil. 18 for 30 is over $1 a pencil by, I guess I don't know, like 2 or something. How many times does 18 go into 30? What do I look like, a fucking calculator? I have no idea. I know more than once. How about that? I mean, I can tell you that much. So these pencils are fucking good, okay? And I didn't obviously buy the big set of them because it's like $400. And who the fuck can do that? Only one person I know. James Gurney, the creator of Dinotopia. Because he says that these things are good, and that's where I'm at, bro. I don't believe in anything, but I do believe in the magic of supplies. And I'll tell you this, man, the magic of supplies sometimes is real. Like, people said it for years. They're like, you know, you don't need to get like Photoshop, but like you do need to get Photoshop. Photoshop is better than all the other photo editing programs out there. I don't care what you say. And Photoshop is the same thing as Caran d'Ache pencils. It's the tool for the job. So, yeah, so this Caran d'Ache pencils, let's go through all the colors. Let's go through all the colors, because this is what we're doing today. Because and if you don't like this, then when I put up that suggestion thing, you better start suggesting shit. Because when I don't get suggestions, I do one thing and one thing only. I find a list of things. All right, I said that already. All right, sorry about that. All right, so what we got here, yo? All right, the Caran d'Ache, this is like an unboxing video. So the Caran d'Ache pencil set comes with a bunch of stickers, and the stickers are it's a sticker of a pencil, it's a sticker of 2 pencils, a sticker of 2 crayons, and a sticker of 2 markers, and a sticker of 1 brush. But it's not like kid style. It's done in like a very professional. It's a pretty cool sticker. It's see-through. So the only lines on it are the white edges of like those pencil shapes or the those like markers or whatever. And then it comes with a see-through piece of paper that says that they've been making these pencils for 100 years. So that's pretty cool. And then it comes with a color called jaune citron. And it says lemon yellow. Oh, okay. That's lemon yellow. Is a jaune citron. Jaune citron is that also could be a character. Jaune. Jaune citron. I never heard of yellow being jaune. Like jaundice, I guess. Jaundice. Did you guys ever have jaundice? I never really even knew what jaundice meant. I guess thank God. Who still has? Have you guys ever gotten jaundice? How do you get jaundice? Do you get it from getting scared? Could you watch a movie and get jaundice, or does it come from staying out in the sun too long? I think it's the staying out in the sun too long. Like that's why it's yellow. Yeah, I think it's like yellow. Oh shit, dude. No, I think it's like no, I don't know. How do you get jaundice? I think that is it from not eating like it's from eating. I think if you eat things that are yellow or you're near yellow things, like if you like maybe I should not even be holding this crayon. This is probably I could get jaundice if I look at this shit too long. All right, I'll go through these 2 yellow colors quick because I don't want to I just put that shit down. Then they have just straight up orange and straight up jaune. They have jaune. Ew, dude. I don't want to fucking get jaune on me. So they named both of the colors yellow jaune. I don't know what language that is in. Is that French? I've never seen jaune as a color. I mean, maybe I have never been around the block. All right, the next color up is scarlet. Scarlett Johansson. Do you guys like Scarlett Johansson? Do you guys ever remember what's your favorite movie of Scarlett Johansson? I'll tell you one, and this is the first thing I thought of. I did think of the opening scene in what is it? I forget the name of the movie, but it's her butt. Yes, I do remember that part. It's damn, I can't even remember the name of that movie. No, but she was in. You know what? I've never seen her in. I've never seen the Marvel movies where she plays Black Widow. Damn, I've literally never seen a Marvel movie. So, anyway, this Scarlet pencil is pretty nice. And I think Scarlett Johansson's pretty nice too. All right, Carmine. That sounds like the name of a mobster. So this pencil is pretty cool. Then coming right up is purple. All right. Yeah, this is not. I thought this is a dumb idea. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I think that is a mental illness. So yeah, we're just gonna keep it moving. And I kind of have no idea where I am on the tape because I had to stop it before to get some water. So, yeah, let's just scoot over. Let's scoot over to see what's happening in tonight on the news. A man with a terminal heart disease gets a transplant of a genetically modified pig heart. Hey, that's not a way to talk about that guy's wife like that. All right. In a first, the U.S. surgeons transplant pig heart into human patient. These surgeons have no mercy, and they just really did not like this guy's wife very much. Why would they continue article after article just calling this guy's wife a pig and saying they transplanted a pig heart into human for first time? What a horrible, mean joke to do on a guy in this time. Look at this. Every paper after paper. Fucking USA Today. First ever heart transplant from gene-edited pig offers hope for thousands in need of organs. Fucking horrible. Say this shit about the guy's wife. Like, that's a woman you're talking about. That's his wife. She deserves better. Why would you just say that about this person? Baltimore doctors transplant pig heart into patient in experiment last ditch. Okay, so that one's not as mean, but let's see. All right. So you can CRISPR genome edit a pig's heart so it can be successfully transplanted to a human. That's right, we just did it. I don't know. All right, so some people are just, I guess, sharing the meme too. All right, so that's very interesting. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that at this time we would have that technology to just take... See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is why animals and humans should be husbanded together, because the more we intermix, the more we'll be able to use each other's parts, and then we won't worry so much about like people getting sick, because like it's like that saying, it's like this every plank on this ship got replaced. In 20 years, it will be a different ship. It's like the same thing. Like you get 20 transplants, and after a while, you're no longer a human. You're a pig or a different animal, whatever. It could be any animal, you know. So I'm all for it. I think that that's a really wonderful thing that they're doing right now. So we're going to put a point up on the board for them. All right. So let's look at this news story about what's happening in here. And it says a New York mayor revises death toll to 17 in Bronx apartment fire and calls the tragedy unspeakable. All right, so apparently the New York mayor, he went around and he, I guess, was telling everybody that 16 people had died in the Bronx apartment fire that has just, obviously been not very cool to have a fire. But people who were, the people who survived were very angry because the New York mayor wasn't even thinking of this one person who had died. He was like just ignoring them like a real piece of shit. Just being like, yeah, even though everyone was like, there's one more person missing, he's like, nah, I don't give a shit. I'm just going to say it was 16 people. But now finally, after, probably some pressure, and also maybe he changed in his own soul, and he was like, you know what? I shouldn't just leave this one also burnt to death guy out. I should also mention him among the dead out of respect. Maybe, who knows? Maybe the guy who he was not saying that he died. Maybe New York mayor was trying to hold out hope. Or maybe he was like, they had a personal beef with each other that the general public doesn't know about. And so it took him a day to find his higher self and mention that he died. All right, so not sure how that last one landed, but that's when you do a show alone, you just gotta have to trust in your own instinct of saying stupid shit about horrible tragedies. Yeah. So what's next? Oh God, let's talk about Bob Saget. So apparently, Bob Saget's family broke the silence after his death. he was everything to us. Bob Saget, of course, the comedian and a favorite father on Full House, died like yesterday, tragically. Who realized that he was gonna, just die? Like no one had thought, but he did. But what I was gonna say about that, his family broke the silence. For years, they never said that he meant anything to them. Probably contributing to Bob Saget's depression and eventual dying of what nobody knows, but we have to put 2 and 2 together and say heartbreak. But then after he died, the family broke their silence and said that he was everything to them. And, this is what, if you have people in your life that you don't tell how you feel about them, if you hold things back from the people in your life, you never know that they might need to hear some nice words from you just to know that like everything is okay. Don't be like Bob Saget's family and wait till after he dies to break your silence. Break your silence before the person dies, because you never know. You never know when you're going to get canceled, Bob Saget, I know he made a lot of offensive jokes over the years, and a lot of people thought that it would never come for him either. But you know what? That's part of life. So, let's just, a moment of silence, or you know what? Not a moment of silence. Thank you, Bob Saget, for giving us all those years of your mirth. And it's sad when somebody dies. You know why? Because just like the planks on that boat, eventually we're all going to get replaced with new planks. And then we will be like those old planks, just forgotten in the expanse of the sea.